Welcome to Weekend Update from Death Curse Society for May 10th, 2024. Every Friday, we run down all the horror news that you need to know. Last week was pretty slow for horror news, but we made up for it this week. Whew! I'm Red Crank. Let's get to the news. There was a lot of drama surrounding the long-awaited Crystal Lake series that was announced Halloween of 2022 from A24 and Peacock. But don't fear, the series is still a go. For now. Let's start at the beginning. Monday night, independent entertainment journalist Jeff Snyder released a report in his weekly members-only newsletter, The Insnyder, that stated that A24 was pulling the plug on the Friday the 13th prequel series. He stated, at that time, it's unclear whether this is a permanent decision or a temporary one, as A24 had no comment. Perhaps Peacock will help the trade shed more light on this project. But just a few short hours later, that initial report seemed to not be complete, or true at all. Bloody Disgusting reported Tuesday that A24 has not killed off Crystal Lake at this time. We have confirmed the show is still happening, but there is indeed some retooling of the project happening behind the scenes. Although some could interpret retooling as temporarily pulling the plug, the initial tweet and newsletter report seemed to be another example of sensational journalism, where it's more important to be first rather than correct. In short, it was irresponsible journalism meant to get the attention and clicks rather than truly inform the public. We stated in our first report Tuesday that we would wait until an official comment came from A24 or series creator Bryan himself. Unfortunately, we didn't have to wait long. Fans of Hannibal who were looking forward to seeing the same inspired vision brought to their favorite slasher, Jason Voorhees, now have a reason to worry. On Wednesday night, Fuller announced on Instagram that he is no longer affiliated with the upcoming series. For reasons beyond our control, A24 has elected to go a different way with the material. We hope the final product will be something Friday the 13th fans all over the world will enjoy. Fuller's exit seems to be based on creative differences. Many fans were looking forward to what Fuller could bring to the Voorhees backstory while creating an in-depth prequel series surrounding Jason and his overprotective mother, Pamela. The additional facts that original star Adrian King was confirmed as a major cast member, as well as Victor Miller's involvement as a producer, and Kevin Williamson rumored to be writing at least one episode, just fed the fan fires of excitement. Fuller was the creator and showrunner for Hannibal, which only aired for 3 seasons on NBC from 2013 to 2015. Faced with a ton of preemptive skepticism, including from this guy, about how he could craft a world before Red Dragon for Dr. Hannibal Lecter and FBI Special Agent Will Graham to inhabit, Fuller delivered one of the best horror series in history and shocked audiences with the amount of grotesque imagery he was allowed to get away with on network television at the time. For Fuller to bring that creative vision to the world of Friday the 13th was exciting for fans, but seems to have been more of a challenge for the creators. A24 and Peacock are currently looking for a new showrunner to take the helm of the production and lead it down the path they want to see creatively. For now, Crystal Lake is still in pre-production, but we will stay alert for updates as they are available. Keep those fingers crossed. She's said it multiple times over the years at conventions and in other interviews, but Heather Langenkamp again voiced her desire to play Nancy Thompson one last time if another Nightmare on Elm Street film were to get off the ground. In the time of legacy sequels such as David Gordon Green's Halloween trilogy beginning in 2018, the continuation of the Scream franchise, and even the latest addition to The Exorcist, the trend is certainly ripe for an appearance from one of the most iconic final girls of all time. Not to mention that this year marks the 40th anniversary of her first appearance in the franchise. During an interview on the Nightmare on Film Street podcast recorded at Panic Fest last month, Langenkamp was asked about the potential opportunity to return as Nancy. God, yes, Langenkamp says. I mean, of course. She's a great character. How could you say no? I just need somebody to get that off the ground. Especially considering Nightmare on Elm Street Part 7, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I do think there's a lot of really great opportunities for new and exciting battles still to come. In my imagination, I have several legacy sequels happening at the same time. Is it time for another entry in the Nightmare on Elm Street universe? And how would filmmakers approach it now? Since all 3 new films for the Strangers trilogy were filmed over 52 days by director Renny Harlin, could a massive 4-hour supercut of the film ever reach theaters? According to Harlan and Lionsgate's Gobert Aboud in a recent article for Variety, the answer is yes. When producer Courtney Solomon attained the rights to The Strangers, he crafted a huge 285-page script that told a much larger story than the original 2008 film. In order to tell it, you're going to need to go back to the great original. It's the primal nature of the original concept, these 3 random people and unexplained random acts of violence, which is just so terrifying and real. I don't know if you can improve upon that, so why don't we take that basic premise as a starting point and modify it for a bigger story that becomes proper, character-driven horror? You need to spend time with both protagonist and antagonist. The Strangers Chapter 1 will debut in theaters May 17, 2024, with Chapter 2 releasing later this fall and Chapter 3 arriving in early 2025. The plan to film and release a full trilogy within a year's span came quickly to Lionsgate, but they still wanted to explore the longer binge-watching experience for theatergoers, with Aboud saying there is some version of that we've discussed at a high level that we'd like to see at some point. Renny Harlin says, "It's in our heads. This is definitely what we want to do. We want to cut together the full arc. We know exactly how to do it. Then we'll create a movie and see who are those die-hard fans who will come to the movie theater for 4.5 hours. I don't know if we need to have an intermission so people can get some food and go to the bathroom, but I definitely want to have that event and see if people take 4.5 hours of dread, fear, terror, and despair." Let's see how The Strangers Chapter 1 pans out first. Then we'll decide about a 4.5-hour version. Bruce Wimple's The Hangman is coming to limited theaters May 31st and then video on demand on June 4th from Dread. And we got the first trailer this week. To mend their troubled relationship, a middle-aged door-to-door salesman, Leon, takes his teenage son on a camping trip into deep rural Appalachia. Little do they know of the mountainous region's sinister secrets. A local cult has summoned an evil demon born of hate and pain, known to them as the Hangman, and now the bodies have begun to pile up. Leon wakes up in the morning to discover that his son is missing. To find him, Leon must face the murderous cult and the bloodthirsty monster that is the Hangman. Sounds a little cheesy, but yeah, we'll check it out. If you saw our story about the upcoming film Black Cab, you may have thought that's what the Colonel was doing on assignment. But no, Nick Frost from Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz will star in Bruce Goodison's supernatural horror film coming to Shudder later this year, according to Screen Daily. Sinove Carlson from Last Night in Soho and Luke Norris from The Color Room play a couple who find their jovial black cab driver, Nick Frost, is not taking them home. Trapped on a desolate, supposedly haunted road, they are faced with their captor's true intentions. Frost assisted in the script written by David Michael Emerson and Virginia Gilbert with additional material. Wait a minute. Has anyone ever seen Nick Frost and the Colonel in the same room? Together? Get the Colonel on the phone for me. And that wraps up this edition of Weekend Update. As always, for more news and information, please visit our new and improved website, deathcursesociety.com. We update the site almost daily with news, reviews, film releases, convention information, and more. Stay on top of all the news and horror by following the website and all of our social media. And don't forget to share our articles, too. We see you sharing other articles, and ours are just as good, if not better. They're short, concise, get to the point. Anyway, check out the website. On the next Monday Maniacs, we will spend a little time with Grindhouse legend 42nd Street Pete. It should be a crazy conversation talking about his life in and out of the horror world. Join us Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and be part of the conversation. As always, thanks for watching, and have a great weekend.